Here sitting with none other than hitmaker Rodni Джеркинс, who you've had the privilege to work on 4 different songs, 4 different projects with Uitni Hьюстон. I'm going to take you back to the night of. You were yourself getting ready for the Clive Davis party as well.
Yeah, I was in my house.
And the news hit you. What went through your head?
You know, it was funny. I was in my house and I was in my bedroom and I just glanced at the TV and it said breaking news. And then when I saw it say Uitni Hьюстон has died, it was I didn't want to believe it. You know, this person, Uitni, wasn't just the most incredible, the greatest voice that we've had a chance to experience in life, but she was a real person. Like, she's just, her soul, she was real. I've never had a conversation in the 13 years that I've known Uitni where she never talked, she didn't fear talking about Christ or talking about her spiritual relationship with God. And she made it known and very clear every time that we spoke that was the forefront of her conversation. Even if we had to talk about musical projects, we talked about doing some work this year together. And even when we had those conversations, she still led back to the fact that her path was spiritual and she wanted to go in a spiritual path. And I remember her coming to my studio a few months ago. She called me and she said, I want to come see you. And she came down to my studio and the first thing she said is, I want you to pray with me. And so for me, what I'm remembering the most is that she was a spiritual woman, and that was the forefront of everything. And people that really know Uitni, they know her to be that person. That was the backbone of her character, the backbone of her life, and that's how I want to remember her.
The voice. You've been able to work with the voice, and lots of people are trying to even compare a voice to what you were saying. There's no way. There will never be.
There's no comparison. So, you know, I know there's a lot of people that want to be in the forefront now because Uitni's not here, and a lot of people are actually sitting like, that's going to be my spot now. It could never happen. That voice is one of a kind. That voice was anointed by God for a time, and and that voice shall carry on, it shall last. This morning I was listening to that voice. So that voice is going to be with us for a long time, and that voice is going to remind us of how great she really was.
Remembering her by her music and the person that she is, how would you like others to see the human side of Uitni? Maybe some funny stories, her sense of humor. I heard she had a sense of humor on her as well.
She was so funny. I mean, just real. You know, I come from a small town called Pleasantville, New Jersey, real small. And my father is a pastor. My mother's the choir director, and we have a really small church. And Uitni called me one morning. It's like literally 9 in the morning. She says, I want to come to church today. And I said, well, Uitni, you live like 3 hours away from Pleasantville, New Jersey. She said, I don't care, I'm coming. And she came all the way to Pleasantville, New Jersey, and she got up there and she sang. It wasn't in front of 1 million people. It wasn't in front of 20,000, in front of about 75 to 100 people. And she sang like as if she was singing in front of 20,000. You know what I mean? And that meant a lot to me, but it's the fact that it was real. It was real. It's hard to find people that are just real like that. And I spent a lot of time with Uitni. I rented her guest house to work on some other musical stuff, and she would come over and she would say, we're gonna cook your food, whatever you want, da 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 da. And I'm like, nah, it's cool. She just was a great person, a great, funny, hilarious person. She was real all the time. She didn't mind speaking her mind, and I miss her. I really do. I miss her.
Lots of people were talking about all the projects that she was working on. She was working on Sparkle. She was working on new music and working with other artists as well. To the comparison of that voice, was that voice still the same voice that we had in the 80s and the 90s?
I mean, listen, I don't know if any voice can remain its temperature for its entire career. I mean, we have to imagine. You sound a little hoarse right now, and it's probably because you've been speaking a lot for the last week, I would suppose, right? And the voice is an instrument that has to be protected, and when you're constantly using it, I mean, Adele just went through a surgery recently where she had to cancel a tour. So, you know, but the thing that we have to remember, the thing that we have to highlight is that that voice, like when I worked with her and we did It's Not Right, But It's Okay, I captured greatness. I captured greatness in that booth, and we have so many great memories of that great voice. And we have to go back, and we got to remember, in all of the years of the national anthem being sang, we've never heard it sang like Whitney. We got to keep that in mind. In all the years, we've never seen someone take a country song, I Will Always Love You, and bring it into modern, make it contemporary, into a feel where you never in your life appreciate a song sang like that again by someone like Whitney Houston.